the man who announced all 32 picks last night rode a bike.
Yeah.
And is also, I think, the man that is potentially like, we can make this a great show, which is exactly what it was. The commissioner of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, Roger Goodell.
Yeah, Raj. Oh,
okay, I appreciate you bringing some warm food.
Look at
Thank
that.
you so much. Hey, we got something for you.
Oh, yeah.
You look a little thin right now. I don't know if you're still doing this.
He's in good shape.
Yeah.
What's up, Commish?
Commissioner,
Good to see you.
yeah, you look jacked.
Yeah, holy hell.
Yeah, these are for you. Thank you. Yeah, forever. Have them. How? I don't want to put you immediately on the spot here, but here, I'll put this wire behind you.
Yeah, right shoulder. Yeah. Wrapping around. There you go. Not your first rodeo.
Yeah,
He knows.
professional.
There you go.
There we go.
There it is.
Commish,
Okay.
I don't want to put you on blast like immediately. How old are you?
66.
You look unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
You look absolutely unbelievable.
Does
And
that also mean I'm old?
I guess that is kind of a, yeah, anytime you precursor with that, I guess it is saying that, but you do look absolutely unbelievable. And I would like to say, as a person that hasn't been on a bicycle in a very long time, you riding that thing on a stage, I think we got McCarthy sent me some footage of you practicing from a couple of days beforehand. Look at him stick out his left leg here, just like super comfortable. Ooh.
Veteran move.
Ooh. Have you been training for this? And also, at what point did you realize that because of the Green Bay Packers training camp tradition of riding a bicycle with kids, it would be a good move to do that? And the start of the draft feels like it is always something that is very well orchestrated and put together. How long are you piecing that together? And how comfortable were you on that bike?
So the piecing together, I would say we work on the draft years out, ultimately.
Really?
Yeah. As soon as we know we're going somewhere, we're always coming up with different ideas. The staff is unbelievable, not just in the execution of the plan, but just being creative. And the club also helps a lot. I mean, the Packers, you know, they share all those different ideas. They want you to really celebrate their legacy, ultimately. And that's a big part of where they are. So that they were a little worried. Some of our folks were worried I was going to ride off the stage, which was not improbable. But and that was really just fun for us. And so the bike rides, I do that all summer. We live in a place where all we do is bike when you go around. So,
So you're a natural biker.
That was well, I don't know about natural,
You can
but I've done it.
Okay, so let's talk.
And those are fat tires too. They helped a little bit.
And it might be a little bit decompressed too. You know, my worry would be the slick,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
stage on the turn. You handled it like a champion. Last year we talked about Detroit and how awesome it was. Because if we look back 5 years, and we got some photos from McCarthy, and the reason why we gave you these peanut M&Ms is because literally that's what we went through COVID with you in your basement on your leather chair, beautiful leather chair with you housing peanut M&Ms. And we talked about how this used to be in New York and then how they booked something, how you had to take it on the road. And obviously last year was incredible. 205,000 last night here. We don't know what tonight's going to be. Does it continue to blow your mind on what it is?
It does.
Yeah.
You know, and I made the point last night, but it's, you know, this is a small town. People are coming out from all over Wisconsin. They're also coming from all over the country and all over the world. The number of people we had, somebody came up to me this morning. I flew all the way 29 hours from Australia to come to the draft.
Jeez.
So
yeah, we had signs. And they're standing out here 11 hours. I mean, they're standing out here like 11 hours.
It's unbelievable.
In the parking lot.
It's crazy.
And I'd like to let you know, I mean, and they opened the gates, I guess. We were realizing that they opened the gates, and the boys are out here, and we appreciate that. But it's like, I don't think I knew what to expect here in Green Bay, especially with the weather. You know, I didn't know what the weather was going to be. Last night felt like the weather was perfect. The environment was perfect. We need to compliment you, though, and your team. That flowed. That felt like a good show last night. Did you agree whenever you looked back on it? It
You
felt
know,
like
it's
it was
hard for me because you're going so quick. But, you know, I started thinking last night we got to shorten it. So I'll give you guys some thoughts. You're always very creative about it. You know, should we have time that you can save? So I'm making it up. 7-minute first round.
Ooh.
But you can get 2 minutes extra.
if you need it.
If you need it. You could call it, but then you don't get it again the rest of the draft.
Oh, so it's like a timeout thing where you get one 2-minute
you get
ad.
one extension.
I like that. It felt like last night you were making picks before the clock was up, which is abnormal from years
we
past.
usually average in a 10-minute. So the first round, I think it's like 6.5. So a lot of teams. I think only one team went the full 10. I think I heard last night. And, if you're in the middle of a trade, you might want to use your card. Play 2 minutes extra. But it's just try to come up with a little more strategy.
I like that a lot. Gamesmanship, especially with all the cameras in the war rooms. So them having to show the card and get the extension, that's even more
drama.
That's even more drama.
That's good.
Yeah. See,
buzzer.
You can move it to 5, build up the drama, and then instead of doing a 2.5-minute buzzer, you can get a 5-minute
We
buzzer.
talked about that last night. But I was so tired last night, I came up with some crazy ass stuff.
No, that's when you need to do your most thinking, whenever you're most loose, which I do, obviously. And you might have seen a video. That was CBD and vitamins that were happening over here. Don't you worry. That was not what you think it was as it was going. Let's talk about the league as a whole. 32 dreams come true. Feels like there was a lot of reaction from a lot of fans that they were happy with kind of who their team picked. Are you happy currently with the state of the NFL? And the reason why I ask that is a lot of trenches picks last night. Offensive linemen, defensive linemen. Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl. They were a run-heavy team, defensive line-heavy. Feels like we're getting back to a little bit of ground-and-pound football. Do you agree with that? And how do you feel about it?
I do, and I think there are always trends in the game. And it moves. And then, I think we're a little bit of a copycat league. But I think, listen, I still think this game's about controlling the football and being able to play good defense. Yeah. And, sure, quarterback play is important, but you got to control that football at the end of the game. You don't want to give it back to somebody else.
Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Commish, obviously a big conversation we were just having with Matt LaFleur was the whole international games. And you just mentioned a guy flew from Australia 29 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe that gets Australia a football game. I don't know.
They already got it next year.
Oh, yeah, okay, there you go.
Preseason or regular season?
Regular season. We're starting the season off over there next year.
Boom.
26.
So 2 buys for that team that goes over there? Because that's a...
No, they'll be going a few days earlier.
Rams or Chargers? Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Rams
right.
are the host team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's awesome. Ireland for the first time also happening. It'd be really cool if you tell us who the Steelers are playing. I know Diggs wants to fly over there for that game, so I'm going to break that news.
Yeah, we'd like to set up a set over there, too.
Kind of promote the game. If you tell us, maybe that'll be perfect transition into that. But how many different countries do you think? Can you kind of foresee how many times you guys are going to go to different countries and try different things out? Obviously, Germany has been a massive success. Is that going to be something that you just continue to do until maybe one time it doesn't work and then you say, like, okay, maybe we don't go back to that country? What do you think?
Well, we're sort of hoping that doesn't happen, that we pick the cities and the countries the correct way, and that we're not looking to be a circus when we go in. We want to be there, and we want to put roots in there. We want to start getting kids playing flag or tackle football. We want to have engagement all year round. We need media coverage year round. We need our sponsors and partners activating throughout the year. And so we're really looking to build this over the long term. I do believe we can get to 16 games. And I think then you'd be in 16 different markets, or you might double up like we're doing in the UK right now. Germany's a strong market, too. We had a great experience in Brazil last year. We're looking forward to going back there. We'll be back in Mexico as soon as the stadium's done. They're redoing it for the World Cup. And I think we'll get to Asia pretty soon. So I think, listen,
Wow.
we can get, I think we can be worldwide with our games, but we also have to have this other activity around them.
You signed an extension, right?
At one point, I mean, I don't even know. I'm still under contract, if that's what you...
How many more years, though? Do you know?
I think it's 2.
It was made a big deal, I think, whenever you signed the extension, and there wasn't a single person that was like, shouldn't happen. Like, everybody is at the point of... I think, and there's obviously people that are going to be mad at you for making a decision against their team at some point, which is what a commissioner has to do. But we think with the vision that you've had for football and for the league is wonderful. Like, I think you are great at what you do, especially whenever you compare you to the other commissioners. But a lot of the things you just said there, feels like you are just scratching the surface of what this game could be. International play, then you brought up flag football. And I was obviously very lucky to be a part of a campaign during the Super Bowl for girls flag football getting sanctioned in every single state for high school. I think that's happening, actually. I think there's going to be a pro flag league that's going to happen. And I think the Olympics, obviously, with flag football. Feels like there's still so much growth for the sport and for the game, even though you guys are seemingly at the top of the mountain. You agree with that? And
I do.
Is that exciting, or what is the kind of the mindset?
Listen, I'm the biggest believer in this game. I just think this game has so many attractive features to it. And I think as people understand more about this game, it'll be even more popular. So when we go over to a market, it just explodes. And that means there's a demand for it and an interest in it and a curiosity. And so, yeah, sure, we have to build our fan base. but I'm confident that our game is so great that we can be popular on a global basis. I really do.
Flag football, I think, is a big deal. I have a 2-year-old daughter. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and it looks like at the moment, watching her walk around the house, her flags are going to be tough to get. I think she's got a lot of wiggle.
She gets around that couch pretty smooth.
Boom. And she's got a little wiggle, too, a little bit of moxie. I think she'll probably get some excessive celebration penalties, which is going to come. That's going to come whenever you're excited. But I think
Pat,
that is a huge development.
And to the young women playing this game, it's an incredible experience. And Steve Young, I don't know if you know, he was coaching his 2 daughters, and he brought them up, I think it was last year, 35 women brought upstairs, and we had a big picture and spent time with them. And these are high school, just really incredible young women. And they said what this game means to them to play it. And not just his daughters, it was all 35 of them. We understand the values of what you're talking about, teamwork, confidence building, overcoming obstacles, and you know, that kind of spirit that you get from playing this game. And young women are talking about it and what it meant to them. And I just think it's going to be an explosion for young women.
I watched that Pro Bowl All-Star game. They had a high school All-Star game, I think.
Yeah. They're great athletes.
Not just great athletes. They're playing ball.
Yeah, great plays.
There was the play design on offense was
Absolutely.
wild, and I was watching safeties dissect plays and call audibles. I'm like, I had no idea that this is what flag football was at all.
Yeah.
Let alone high school flag football. It feels like that's a great avenue to continue to develop the game. AJ has a question for you,
Yeah,
Coach.
Commissioner, we had Matt LaFleur on earlier, and he said he thinks you may be in line with him when it comes to the tush push. Where are we with the tush push? How do we? How do
We had a little
moving forward with
conversation in
that?
the gym at the end of
Did
the
you?
meeting. Yeah, that's
I assume. Where are we with the tush push? What do you in the next 3-4 months? Is anything going to happen?
Yeah, we're going to bring it back up. The competition committee, we've been talking about it, and I think the idea is to look back about our history, right? Since 1920 to 2005, you couldn't push or pull a player anywhere on the field. And is that a football play is the question. And a lot of coaches would tell you that's not part of football, right? It may be rugby, but it's not us. The second thing is really the safety of the game, and that's primary importance to us. Is it a play that is unsafe when you're in those positions where you're getting pushed or pulled and you can't control where you're going? And so those are the 2 factors. On the other side, there's a legitimate argument that everyone can do it. And, if somebody does it better than the others, that's the way the game's played. So I understand that argument, but that's also the great thing about the league. We have 32 clubs, there'll be 24 votes. If it's 24 votes, that means people have a pretty strong view of what should happen.
It was split, right? 16-16, allegedly?
There were different concepts that were discussed. I would say there was a split. There wasn't an overwhelming push either way, but I think there's as people see the different things that the committee's been considering and hear the conversation, I think that they'll actually develop a consensus.
You know how we talk about this is if Roger Goodell wants something to go through, it's going to go through.
Yeah.
And so we assume the same thing with the tush push, whatever the iteration is, whether it's you can't have 2 people pushing, 1 person whatever the...
Or should it be all over the field, Pat? Should we go back to the old rule where you couldn't push or pull a player anywhere on the field?
Special teams has it already. Field goals, obviously, that is precedent. And I think it has happened before with the dragging of players over piles. But we view it as if Roger Goodell wants something, he's going to inevitably get it because you are seeing it from a more 30,000-foot view. Kickoff was something that whenever we talked to Riz and all the special teams coaches, you told them flat out, like, hey, we need an alternative to the kickoff, or we're going to have to get rid of it. You didn't want to get rid of it, which is why I think you were open to so many ideas. That dynamic kickoff last year, towards the end of the year, I think started proving to be exactly what everybody thought it was going to be. Adjust the rule to the 35-yard line for the touchback, which I think will entice more teams to kick the ball into the landing zone. Huge success. Are you viewing it as in a change of the game?
I think it was a huge success because we proved we could make the play safer. We saw that the injury rate on the play went back down to pretty close to where a line of scrimmage play is. And so that got us to the point where we feel comfortable that changes are safer. So obviously moving to the 35, to your point, the analytics show they're gonna kick it in the return area because you're not going to give the ball at the 35. You're going to try to hold them from getting that far. And so we see that as there's going to be a significant increase in the amount of returns. We think somewhere in the 60 to 70%.
It was electrifying whenever they got going towards the end of the year because whether it was weather or guys couldn't get it for a touchback, guys were even bringing it out, it felt like, from 2-3 yards deep because of the setup and everything. The first time they did it, though, you thought it looked weird? We all did.
It's hard visually to get used to it. But that'll happen over time, right? And if we can bring that play, the excitement back to that and keep it safe, which we think we can, I think people will get over the look and they'll just get more comfortable and say, that's an exciting play, which is what we really want.
33
We had
yard
1,700 plays basically we took out of the game at one point. That's crazy.
I agree. And the 33-yard extra point looked weird, too.
Yeah.
And then now it's just
normal.
standard operating procedure.
Or how about moving the goalposts when they were on the goal line? I was watching some old films with my girls the other day.
Good idea.
And my girls were looking at it going, what did they do that for, Dad? And they're right. But we moved it back, and I'm sure that was an adjustment for people visually.
Yeah, but as long as the game keeps going strong, it's the only thing that matters. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Commissioner, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe from this past owners meeting, the Lions' proposal to potentially change the seeding of the playoffs got tabled to the next owners meeting. I thought we were surprised just because you know how successful the NFL is and how much people love, if you win your division, you're going to get a home playoff game. Where are we standing on the Lions' proposal to potentially change the seeding of the playoffs?
So I think the Lions' proposal, honestly, I think that's probably more than we're going to be able to get in the first step. I think a proposal that came out of the discussion, which is a healthy discussion about how you should do that. I think there is a general view that the first thing you're going to do is win your division so you qualify for the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
That's how you start.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we got to do. The question is, at some point, if you're not 500 or better, do you deserve the ability to have a home game too?
Yeah, we like that.
I think that's pretty hard to argue with. So.
Yeah, it's a nice little clause.
Yeah.
I think it's a good caveat because I think it was going to be hard, as you would know, to sell the owners on if you win your division, you're not going to get a home playoff game. Because I think every owner,
I think that's right.
Every year going in, it's like, if I win my division, I get an extra home game and the revenue that comes alongside of it.
And
so
the fan base.
And the fans deserve it.
The fans really, because the revenue's pooled, so it really doesn't matter to the individual team. It's the fact they're playing at home.
Oh, okay.
The advantage of being at home. So that's
playoff money.
So what about the concessions that I'm buying at the playoff game? Does that go to the pool?
Part of that might be a little bit benefit, but that's
Tell Colts lower the prices on those chicken tenders.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, we got it. But yes, I think like ownership or teams, fan bases too, like every year we have a chance to win our division, we get a home playoff game. Like that's kind of been the basis of the entire league.
Yeah.
So we thought it was going to be impossible to sell that to people. Then whenever the caveat came in, like if they're under 500, though, I think fans would even understand. Like, yeah, we didn't really deserve that. I like the way you guys lob something in, and then it seems like there is genuine conversation. Do you feel like you guys are the Titanic, though? Like, do you feel like you set seeds, not going down? Sorry about that. I want to talk about the vastness of the Titanic, not the end of the Titanic. No. But it's like you got to set seeds in, and then you got to like kind of slowly turn because of how big the operation is. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think the Detroit proposal is a great example of that, right? You take that's a running start, man. That's way down the line. We need to take a step in the right direction. And when you do that, then you sort of, you prove the concept a little bit. And I think we've done that so many times. And you got to be careful of being that ship that's too hard to move. The thing that's going to keep us great, I think, is continuing to look at our rules every year. How do we improve them from a safety and excitement standpoint? How do we look at doing things better? It's just like, it's our mantra, always get better. And you might make some missteps, but you can adjust to that. But
I love the nimbility you're talking about because our company pretty nimble. So our company pretty nimble because we're small.
For sure.
You guys so big, hard to be nimble. But you talking about how we also need to be effective and efficient whenever we're changing as well with the times. I think every rule that you've made has made football better. Even the old heads, I think, are coming around on a lot of what you have changed for the game. Do you feel at this point the state of football is in a spot where the rules we have on the field, changing of the kickoff, I'll say that's I don't even know what that rule change would be classified as.
it was driven by safety.
Okay, but safety. But
it was driven by safety, but wanting to not have a play that we take out of the game. It was really an exciting play.
Well, let's talk about all the other plays, 1 through 4, first down through fourth down.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're at a spot in the game now where the health is good, medical is good? We still got big hits. I think we're all we're still seeing explosive plays. We're running the ball now again. I feel like the rules that you guys have constructed have got us to a good spot in football.
I agree with that.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. We like the balance. We like the points. We think that the running game is coming back.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a good thing. Listen, more teams going for it on fourth down. I think that's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like the change. I know it's taking punters out of the game a little bit.
Yeah, let's not be too positive. Roger got a lot of influence on these people. Let's not. Yeah, need to run more fakes. Need to run more fakes. Keep the punter in the game. But I feel like the game is at a very, very, very good spot right now. And speaking of that, no, you talk about setting precedent or trying concept and everything like that. Feels like Christmas is a great day. Ty has a question for you.
Yeah, Commissioner, we've talked about this ad nauseum, how for the longest time, the Christmas was NBA's day, and then you guys, rightfully so, came in and just kind of said, hey, this is the NFL's now, which is the way it should be. Last year, obviously, it was a smashing success on Netflix, but we were all saying, like, after that second game, we were wishing there was one in that night slot. Obviously, this year it falls on a Thursday, so we're going to have the prime game. Do you envision in the future we're going to get a Christmas Day game in every time slot, and what does that do in terms of like a potential international package with Netflix when you already have that relationship existing with Christmas?
Well, it was one of the reasons we went with Netflix, to be honest with you, is because of the worldwide audience. It was our first partner. Really, it has a global reach in that sense. Amazon on Thursday night also has global reach, but this was designed specifically for the global reach. And I think we will clearly have 3 games every year. We feel the same as you do.
That feels like a big announcement right there. That does feel like
that one will definitely.
And Adam Silver just sat in his office and said,
Come on.
We apologized to him. We did.
We did. We told him he's a Christmas Eve league now. Congratulations. We need you on Christmas Eve because Christmas, the numbers were gigantic.
Crazy.
The games weren't that. But
we didn't have the best games that day. That wasn't our best.
Stars
football.
were playing, though.
That was the Steelers.
But, a little bit, and AJ probably, you've got to learn. When we brought Thursday Night Football in, it took a while for coaches to understand how to prepare the team, right? How to coach for it. And the players, too. So there's an adjustment period. I think now the Thursday night games have really become competitive because coaches do understand how to do it. I think the same thing. Christmas was the first time we did a Wednesday, other than during COVID.
Wednesday afternoon football. WAF. We remembered WAF.
But we were able to move those 2 games from Sunday back to Saturday and do it Wednesday and still give them the same rest day. So.
Okay, so the Chiefs allegedly want to do Christmas. Is that a real report? And will you do that with like you have with the Lions and the Cowboys with Thanksgiving? Will you pick teams that potentially become synonymous with Christmas?
Listen, a lot of teams now want to play on Christmas because it's a great platform. The Chiefs definitely do. Will we get back where it's a tradition that you always have that game? I don't think we'll do that. I think we'll continue to rotate that.
Okay, Thanksgiving games with the tradition of Detroit playing. Now they're winning. Congrats, Foxy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, congrats, Foxy.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, all the people in Detroit are like, can't wait to spend the holiday watching our team not win. Now they're good, but that tradition of the Lions and the Cowboys, I think, is just like a part of Americana now.
Yeah. I think it is too. We're going to move one little small change. We're probably going to move from a 12:30 Eastern start to 1. So we'll go back
standard.
we'll go back to the traditional windows. So, but the 1 roll right into Dallas and then roll into the prime time.
Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, you mentioned getting better as a league. Something you guys did this offseason was the accountability initiative with the refs, and you let 3 refs go. What is kind of the standard when it comes to that accountability? Is it more so the calls on the field, something missed, things of that nature? And will that continue to kind of grow over the years? Because obviously the full-time refs and things like that have been a conversation for a while with the NFL, but now having an accountability type thing that almost crosses that out because then guys still have to be on their A game, which they always want to.
Yeah, but coaches and players always raise this. They're accountable. Our officials have to be accountable. And by the way, I'm a biggest supporter of our officials. I think they do an incredible job. But listen, you're out there, and the speed of the game is so quick, and there's so many things that you see now on television you couldn't see 20 years ago. We have to stay up with it, and I think that's why there's an expansion of the replay assist. So can we use the technology to help the officials when they thought they saw something, but they can see it on video? That'll clear it up. So it's a little balance of using the technology, training the officials better, training them differently, giving them everything it can. I still don't believe that it's going to change if they're full-time officials, because what are they going to do?
We need full-time.
But what are they going to do in the offseason?
Get
Train.
better.
Train? What do you mean?
Like I train, like you train.
Yeah.
Lift, run.
Work on their
you
calls.
You'd be shocked at how many guys are doing that, and they're looking at the video and the whistle. Yeah, they're getting pretty good at it.
Yeah, too good. Yeah.
Speaking to an entire audience.
Yeah, I will say this. It feels like the refs weren't really, and we brought this up a lot. I would like to let everybody know that we are fair journalists, I feel like, because we as players understand the importance of refs.
Sure.
And how a ref can get people fired, how refs can change the trajectory of a team, a city, an organization. But this past year, it felt like the refs were not a part of the conversation every single Monday where it had been in years past. I think the advancement of technology and the usage of 8K helped them. Without telling anybody, other than the teams, are you guys doing that more? Like, because it felt like there was a little bit more after further conversation. We changed it.
If we see something that can be helpful to them, they can go down to them. Yes, but it's in certain categories. We're careful. We're not in their ear every time and saying, watch for a holding on the other side. These guys they got a lot going on the field. We're there in very specific circumstances, which all the clubs know, and that's what we call replay assist. And if we see one of the expansions is going to be, you saw it last year on quarterbacks running out of bounds. If they get the wrong call and they throw the flag, we'll pick up the flag. Now that's one issue that we're still debate a lot about is we can't throw a flag through replay.
But if a flag is thrown.
But if a flag is thrown, we could correct it if we think it's wrong.
Interesting. So I wonder what the mindset will be for refs there.
I'll tell you what some people say they'll be more likely to throw a flag.
Inclined.
I don't think that's true because I think they're out there, they're making judgments so quickly. They want to get it right. We haven't seen that. But I will tell you that at some point there's a lot of complications to it, but being able to correct an obvious call where a flag didn't go down, and we've had games like that, including playoff games, where you just don't want a game to end that way. And can you come up with some concept where you can actually have replay change it, even if a flag didn't go on the field?
Yeah, well, I think the advancement of technology and also the refs accepting it, because I think there was a time there where they had too much pride and they're like, we don't want to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. Now it feels like it's more of a hybrid situation, which is great for the league, especially with the technology we have. We know you have a very busy day. I need to ask you, because we asked you last year about it, and I think you even had the schedule set up, 18-game season. Okay, would that add a bye? I don't know if there's been a development in the conversation. So right now it's 17 games with a bye. Obviously, not everybody is guaranteed a Thursday night game anymore. They used to be guaranteed a Thursday night game, so they had a mini bye on the back end there. Now it's not like that. If you go to 18 games, will there be 2 byes? And what do you think the conversation is like with the NFLPA about potentially 18 games? Because if we get another weekend of primetime games that you're able to sell to any of these platforms, feels like the salary cap and money that's going to come in is only just like flag football and international. You're only scratching the surface with these specialty games that could be added. How important is the 18th game to a season, and how far along are we in that conversation?
Well, listen, there's no question, right, that the general public would say, I'd rather have a regular season game than a preseason game. So I think 18-2 makes sense from the quality of the game. The core function for us, though, is can we keep the game safe for our players? And can we minimize contacts in the off-season and training camp during the season where we can do it where we think safely? And that's the core issue. And I think that gave us the ability to go from 16-4 to 17-3. 18-2 would be another extension of that. And as you know, we used to have a 14-6, but guys played every preseason game. Every preseason.
I didn't know that, actually. I just learned that.
You were playing 20 games. So I think, and that was at a time when you had double sessions in camp. You had a lot of drills.
Terrible pads, terrible helmets.
Yeah, and I think all of those things have improved. I think the equipment, the rules, the way we train players has changed significantly and makes it possible to do. We still have to deal with the Players Association. They have a right to approve it. So that's going to be really important for us in having that conversation to say, yes, we can grow the pie. And they get a percentage of it, as you know.
Yeah.
And so is it the right step? I think we feel strongly that it is, but that may be something that will have to happen over a longer term. It may not be a shorter term.
You talked about sharing a percentage. I think it's 49.5 or something like that. I forget what the exact CBA.
About 48.5, but
take another percentage. Yeah, I get it. So let's talk about that. And I know you have to go, so I appreciate you taking time here.
I'm good.
Relationship with NFLPA.
Great.
Okay, so when I got drafted, I went to the rookie symposium, and it was DeMaurice Smith's first time addressing the players. And it was like, we're going to war. We're going to war. We're going to war with the NFL. Then the lockout happens and everything.
It wasn't just the NFL. It was yours truly, too.
Yes, exactly. But I didn't think, as a person that is very interested in business since I'm like a little kid, literally started selling cigs in 5th grade. I don't know if, shouldn't have done that. I agree. But the kids were going to smoke cigarettes anyways. I at least should profit off it. Nonetheless, I don't know if that's the best way to go about doing business. Now, granted, I've done business with people and done that, and I am willing to give up my business with those people to do that. Is there a way where the NFLPA and the NFL, I don't want to say good business partners, but like, do you feel like it's a much more positive relationship with this? Yes. Okay.
Definitely. Listen,
you need each other, right? Like
we
legitimately.
We do, and they make us better. And I believe that. I get so many suggestions from players, not just through the union, but individually. We just met with a group of vets this morning with a couple of active guys. We met with all the rookies yesterday. We're always looking for input of how we continue to make the game better and stronger for all of us. And I think, there's no question in my mind that you couldn't have had 2 successive 10-year CBAs. You couldn't have done that if we didn't have a partnership that was working for the players, for the clubs, for the fans. And we have. And that's, no other leagues come close. No other industry has had 2 successive 10-year CBAs that I'm aware of. And that, that came through a lot of pain, right? We went through a lockout, and
Jeff Saturday sat down and said, let's get this settled.
And Jeff Saturday was instrumental. I can remember going to his house that spring and to get him involved, because he was such an incredible leader and smart, and he helped us get to a place where I think we found the right balance. But you also don't wait 10 years to do that. We're making those changes. If we see something that we can improve, we'll sit down now and fix it.
That's good business, I think. And McCarthy told me yesterday you talked to the rookies, and I don't know if you do that were at the draft. I don't know if that happens every single year.
It does.
Okay, so what was your message to them yesterday, if you don't mind sharing with the public?
Well, a lot of it is just, one, we're here to celebrate you, obviously, around the draft. But it was sort of it's a difficult message when you're sitting there as a rookie and you're about to get drafted. And my point of view is, I said, listen, this is going to sound funny, but you got to start thinking about when you're not an active player, when you retire from the game, how you're going to transition that game, and you need to think about that while you're on that platform. And I think, we had a couple of vets there. Curtis Martin was there. Troy Vincent was there. They were taking it in, and I think they were understanding it. But so we want people to think about, yes, we want you to be a successful NFL player, but we want you to be successful in life. And so what we need to do is help you transition. Life's all about transition. Transition into the game, transition out of the game, but also be prepared. You're going to retire as a young man. Do something, find a career, and work that and develop relationships.
Find what you like. Figure out what you like, develop relationships, and networking is the most important part. When you're in the NFL, especially as a first-round draft pick, you're going to have a chance to shake a lot of hands.
Yeah.
Obviously, keep the main thing, but thinking about the future is not a bad thing at any moment, especially where we're at right now.
Yeah, Roger, actually, on that note, did you tell Clay Matthews to go into stand-up comedy last night or no?
Just for the record, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was funny because he came over and he goes, Commish, you pissed? And I said, it was a moment, and you know what? Those guys gave a lot of thought to it, but it was probably appropriate, right?
Yeah. I mean, while you were talking just a few seconds ago, a Bears fan was lifted up on somebody's shoulder, and they all started booing his ass out of the city. So I think what Clay did was probably a good thing for the crowd, good thing for the pop. Can't wait to see what it is tonight. Congrats on all the success.
Thank you.
We appreciate the hell out of you, man. And also, I know that you, McCarthy, and others had a lot to say in us being here, and you talked about talking to the rookies about transitioning and what you do in your future life. You have been nothing short of godsend to us in our company. So thank you so much for everything you've done for us. Right. Thank you for everything you've done for the league, and congrats on all the success.
You guys deserve it. And by the way, you didn't come to the office yet and do the show, so let's meet in Ireland.
Who's playing?
I know Pittsburgh's playing.
Come on, just tell us. Just tell us.
Good try. Good try.
They're playing again.
Wait, Commissioner, last year I asked you, I said the draft's going to be in Pittsburgh next year, right? And you kind of confirmed it. You want to announce where the next one is?
You know what? In about a week, I will.
Okay.
Football town? Another football town, obviously.
Yes.
I think it's been paying off.
Yeah.
Maybe
Nashville was amazing.
Yeah.
Detroit
it
was
might
amazing.
be a little different than the Midwest cities though, that we've been in, which I think is awesome. But it's really important for us.
New
to move
England.
around.
It's a non-Super Bowl.
Is it a mile high or something like that?
Yeah.
You're on a mile high?
No, I didn't say
Great
that.
laws over
Did I
there.
say?
All right, anyways, we'll follow along. We
you.
appreciate you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Appreciate it,
the
yep.
Commissioner of the NFL.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
McCarthy, don't let him forget these peanut M&Ms. McCarthy,
Thank you. Appreciate
Build.
it.
do not let
All
him
right.
forget these
Enjoy the
peanut
rest of the
M&Ms.
day, bro.
Commish.
That boy McCarthy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good work, McCarthy.
I don't know how.
Hey, baby, we go,
Hey,
McCarthy.
Curtis Martin right here.
Is that? Hold on.
Curtis Martin obviously can't.
Curtis Martin.
Yeah.
Still could run the
Great to
ball
see
right
you,
now.
man.
Hey, he's a yellow
You
jacket.
are-
Holy shit.
Yellow jacket.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you all.
He can still play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Curtis, great to see you. You look like you're 25.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Speaking of Pittsburgh
See you
legends,
guys.
Yeah.
Wanted to go.
Curtis, way to go, brother. Thank you for representing the Yinzers. Start raining in here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Been getting
Yeah.
a few
Yeah,
drops.
I was gonna say I'm getting pissed on pretty
those
good.
delish? Those delish or what?
Yeah, so first one was a little dry, I will say. You need to add,
Oh, dude.
Cheese curds?
you need to put a little sauce on it. Yeah, they were warm at the beginning. All right, I'm sorry. Let me give you a little better.
There you go.
Here we go.
Hold on.
Do it. Get the other
Hey,
eye.
what are you gonna do?
Let me get a black
guy.
Get the other eye.
All right, now let me
Come on. No, you got to make it now.
Oh my God.
dude.
It's hard with the light.
I can't. I know.
I hit you in the mouth.
Let me go.
2-3 times here.
You need a ball mitt to block out the lights.
Hey, Big Mike McCarthy be watching my arm. He would. All right, enough. I'm just.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel pretty good about my cheese curd sauce.
Pretty good.
God, the second one hit me right in the tongue.
Yeah. By the way, they cheered for Commish whenever he got up here.
Yeah.
I think it is a fun thing to do at the draft whenever he comes up.
This guy sucks.
Last night,
He loves it.
we didn't even ask him about it. The people he was going up on stage with,
Yeah.
good strategy.
Yes.
He had really good strategy last night. And he said he thinks he has 2 more years or whatever the case is. It's like, I don't think anybody would be bummed out if he continued to move forward as the commissioner.
people down here.
And he's signing autographs. I mean, Fox, I don't know if we still have the outside camera with the rain and everything. He's literally down here signing autographs, taking pictures with the fans. There's a Vikings fan, Packers fan, Bears